What's going on YouTube? Listen up, young elder gang. This is Dr. Michael Carter at you with another banger. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, fam. I hope this video get at least 100,000 likes. In this video, you will find history, definitions, scripture, information, and best of all, what we Americans have been deprived of from the beginning, the truth. Keep in mind, this content used in this video is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. Be sure to hit that like button, young elder gang. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell and don't forget to check back with us every day for new content. Alright, let's get started. In 570 AD, called al-Fil, the year of the elephant in Arabia, being the year in which Abratu al-Ashram, an Ethiopian ruler of Sena in Yemen, marched with a large army of elephants to conquer Mecca. The 105th degree, originally the 19th chapter of the Quraan, is dedicated to this event, saying, "Didn't you see how your Ahmad Rab, who is sustainer, dealt with the companions of the File elephant Abrahat al-Ashram, viceroy of Yemen? Didn't he, the source Allah, manifest that their Qaid scheming to destroy the Kaaba was a grave error, and consequently he, Allah, sent airborne flocks tear on them, throwing hot stones Hijrat from Tamat Mel Sijil on them. By throwing stones from Sijil, the source, Allah made their flesh raw, like kernels of quickly consumed corn, ka'asf and chewed hay. A child prophesied as the praised one, or the comforter in his language Arabic, that is Ahmad, was born to a descendant of Kedar, second son of Ishmael, and his wife Saida Fatima. This Ishmael was the first son of Abraham and his Egyptian wife Hagar. This descendant was called Abdullah, a slave of the god Allat, later called Abdullah, to imply servant of Allah. Abdullah was one of the sons of Abd al-Muttalib. The others being Hamza, al-Abbas, Abu Lahab, who came from one of his pale Arab wives, Az-Zahir, al-Haris, and Abu Talib, father of Ali, husband to Fatima, the sole heir of Ahmad, Abd al-Muttalib, who headed the tribe called the Haashimites, later called the Quraysh. The mother of Ahmad was called Amina, daughter of Wahb. Mecca, the capital at that time, was the most important location for Arab pilgrims. The year of the elephant was a dry, destitute year for many. Among those suffering the effects of the famine was the family of Al-Harith, son of Rifaz, son of Malian, son of Nasira, son of Qusay, son of Nasar, son of Saad, son of Bakr, son of Hawazin. His wife Halima, daughter of Abu Du'aib of Banu Saad, son of Bakr, came to Mecca along with the women of other nomadic tribes searching for babies to breastfeed, a tradition of that day. Before she returned to her family's tents, she took an orphan child into her care named Ahmad, later called Muhammad, who was destined to become the prophet of a new religion called Mohammedanism, combining the religion of Abraham called Millah Ibrahim and the way of life of those before him, called A1 Islam. With idolatry and paganism, they created, with the help of the Catholic Church, a newfound faith, called Din A1 Islam, meaning submit to Dina, the female deity of the crescent moon, or so-called Ishtar. She was called the universal mother of all living things, the virgin mother of all souls, who's known as Diana, Artemis, Phoebe, and Cynthia. The chief seat of the Dina cult and worship was at Ephesus, where a great temple was built. When Ahmad was a baby, his grandfather took him to the Kaaba, a cube-shaped structure, the same shaped structure of the Great Temple of Solomon, a site of worship for its commemoration of its construction by Abraham and Ishmael, and called his name from Ahmad, the name of prophecy, to Muhammad, the prophecy fulfilled. Unbeknown to them, Shaitan had given birth to his own prophet Muhammad, a son of a wicked man named Habib al-Hanafi. They named this child Musaylimat. He was to undermine all of the unknowing followers of Muhammad. He was to lie and wait in order to deceive them, to get all of them except for al-Mukhlasina, the purified ones, who would be guided by the successor of Muhammad al-Mahdi of the Sudan, whose teachings would spread like the sun coming out of the east, even unto the west. There you'll find the Mukhlasina, the Ansaru Allah, under al-Mukhlas, protected from the touch of this worldwide deception called Mohammedism, whose followers are called Mohammedans, Muslims or Muslims, with its own corrupted set of laws called Sharia, laws made by man not found in the real Al-Quran. It would create a system called fiqh, rules and regulations, and fatwa, sentences. This Sharia is subdivided into itikadat, false beliefs, adab, moral immoralities, ibadat, blind devotion, mu'amalat, unfair transactions, yukubat, barbaric punishments, and lastly the demon, al-Hadith, would become the source of their information, and they would call his text the Hadith, their guidance. A man named Musaylimat, son of Habib al-Hanafi, and make note that he was born 22 years before Ahmad. yet his name was Musaylimat, which is just another way of saying Muslim. Waraka ibn Nawfal ibn Asad ibn Abdil Uzza, the uncle of Khadijah, was their own Quran to deceive the followers of Muhammad, who were all Nuwaubians. Yet Musaylimat's followers, as they are referred to in the real Garun as the desert Arabs, are in control of Mecca, Jerusalem, and even the tomb of the Mahdi to this day. They formed what they called a sacred brotherhood, or the Ikhwani Muslimun, the brotherhood of Musaylimat, the liar, who was told by Waraka that he was inspired by a namus, another form of the word namus, a spirit being, which Waraka told this false Muhammad had appeared to Moses also. This can be found recorded in their hadith under Sahihul Bukhari, where it is said, when Muhammad told Waraka the Jew what he had seen on Mount Hira, Waraka exclaimed that it is the namus who appeared from Allahu Rahman to Moses, when in fact this Muhammad mentioned is Musaylimat Abu al-Haq. Namus means one who can take knowledge of the sacred thoughts of a man and use in contradistinction to the word jasus, a spy who seeks to know the evil deeds of another. The Namus or Namo of the Dogon were reptilians or serpent beings called in the Quran shaitans, who were behind Musaylimat. The Quran, called the Holy Quran or the Glorious Quran, as held in the hands of Muslims today, is a product of Jewish scholars and the Catholic Church's branch of the Jesuit priest under Pope Augustine. And they planned the poisoning of the Prophet Muhammad by a Jewish woman named Zainab bint Harith, wife of Salam ibn Mishkam, whom Muhammad killed in a battle. This plan was to destroy the original Garun and replace it with their version of a Quran, written by Musaylimat with the help of Jewish scholars and Christian scholars. This was to be done by hastening the death of Muhammad and placing as his successor a desert Arab named Abu Bakr ibn Uthman, and to kill all of the Ahlul Bayt, which was the family of Ahmad, starting with the attempt to kill the rightful Khalifa, the successor Ali, son of Abu Talib, the very man who raised Ahmad. This plan succeeded, but assassins, from which the name Hashim, whose original name is Ammar, comes from, the original name of Ahmad's family tribe, stepped in and secretly assassinated all of these fake successors. The false caliphs, namely Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, had compiled this false Quran, changed the language to their dialects, and killed all of the men who had memorized the original Quran, called Al-Qura'us Sabah, called the Seven Readers. They were Imam Ibn Kasir, Imam Asim, Imam Abu Umar, Imam Hamza, Imam Lukasa'i, Imam Nafi, and Imam Ibn Amir. But they could not put their hands on Ali as of yet. He became recognized as the fourth caliphate, even though he was the first, and took the handwritten copy of the Quran that was in his wife's, Fatima, daughter of Ahmad, possession, his advisor, as they plotted to create 64, sent it to Kufa, where it was transposed into Kufic, and sent the original copies through Egypt down into Sudan, where it was protected and never translated into any foreign language until now. Eventually, they assassinated Ali and his family members, but not before their seed was well planted in the Sudan, from which sprung the great A1 Mahdi and his Ratib, who had possession of the original Quran, which in time also got infiltrated by political egotists from the bloodline who form an Ummah party, broke away from the original teachings of the Mahdi, allowing their daughters to marry into the Ikhwani Muslim, and the Ansar fell to ruin, only for the prophecy of 100 years to be fulfilled from 1870 AD, the establishment of Jazir Abba, to 1970 AD when the sun rose in the west, and these truths are made clear. We are the Ansaru Allah, the Ahlul Bayt. This fake Muhammad that is responsible for Islam as you know it today, be it Sunni, Shiite, Ahmadiyya, Wahhabi, Ikhwani Muslim, Nation of Islam, World Muslim Community, and the many other C's that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon, said would raise in the last day and oppose his nation, the Ansaru Allah. For as the real Quran said, O you who are of the faithful, be Ansaru Allah. And again it says, O you who is of the faithful, if you help Allah, Allah will help and plant firm your feet. They plan a plan and Allah plans a plan, and Allah is the best of planners. This plot of theirs was headed by Musaylimat, who lived and ruled in the exact same time as Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin. This Arabian prophet of the 5th century was born in the year 558 AD and was killed in 633 AD by Washi, the Ethiopian assassin, by the command of Abu Bakr, who betrayed him, wanting to be the ruler of all of the followers for himself. A year after Muhammad died in the year 632 AD, Musaylimat was a very prominent leader who was very well versed in poetry. A self-proclaimed prophet composed his own holy book called the Qur'an. He considered himself a prophet over El Yamama, a province in the southeastern part of Saudi Arabia. before they planned their total takeover of all Arabia with the murder-death of Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin, who started his mission in the year 610 AD, while meditating in a cave, Hira, in the Har mountain. The mountain lit up with light, a cylinder-shaped craft hovered above, a symbolic ladder was lowered, and an Aluhum, whom he became aware of was Gabriy'el, son of Raziel and Zamael, approached him and said, "Akra, read." And Muhammad replied, "Ya Gabriy'el ma'ana bikarian, O one sent from El, I am not a reader." And Gabriy'el repeated, "Akra, read," getting the same reply. Then Gabriy'el said, "On this 19th shadow hour in the 9th month called Ramadan, for it is very hot in that month, read, by using the name of your Rab who creates." He procreated the Enocytes from a clot of congealed blood, cells separating, read by way of your Rab who is sustainer the Akram, most generous. It is he who taught Alam you by way of the Kalam quill, he taught the Enocytes that which they did not know. So, Ahmad knew this to mean that he was to read that which was already taught by scribes who wrote it by the pen. The Qur'an had not yet been revealed, he was talking about previous scriptures. The next time he appeared, the first thing Gabriy'el said to Muhammad was the light and the column, quill, and that which they the news-bearers record, you Muhammad are not. I say not by the grace of your sustainer who is Rab possessed by a jinn, malevolent being. This was necessary, for all who heard Muhammad's claim of spiritual visitation declared him possessed. His next revelation was, "O you who is al-Muzammil, one wrapped in a mantle rise up for prayer a little way into the shadow hour. Not quite halfway into it, just a little Khalil of it, or you Ahmad may add to it, it's your choice. And rattle, recite the Quran rhythmically, yet well presented in a regulated tone." And then his next revelation, "O you covered under your mantle, al-Mudathir, arise and Anzir, warn, and your Rab sustainer Allah is Kabir, expanding in greatness, and purify your raiment, put on white, and shun the abomination Rudza." And finally he was given the revelation that began with 19 mystical, Bismi Allah, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim in Arabic, begin all things in the name of Allah, the Yielder, the most merciful. Muhammad told his story by saying this, "That book is a scripture, no doubt about that. Inside of it, there is guidance to those who tremble. These are they who are faithful to what is unseen, and they get up to perform worship, and of the things we, the Aluhum Anunagi, had provided for them, they share willingly. These are they who are faithful to what was sent down to you, Muhammad, and what was sent down before your time, that's the other scriptures and tablets, and in the end, Al-Akhir, they will certainly be successful. These are the ones who follow Al-Mahdi, the guidance given by their Rab, Master, and these are the ones who are successful. Surely those who cover the facts, it is the same for them whether you warn them or do not warn them, they are not going to be faithful. The source Allah has put a seal on their emotional hearts, and their hearing, and on their eyes is a screen, and there awaits for them a supreme pain. And from amongst the Enocytes there are those of them who will say, we have faith in the source Allah for fear of the end, Yum al-Akhir, and they are not really in with the faithful, they only seek to deceive the source, Allah and those who have faith, and they don't deceive any except themselves but they don't perceive it. In their Hiyans there is a disease, so Allah will increase their disease, and for them there is an aching pain because they are liars. Musaylimat the liar preached in the name of Rahman, along with calling himself Rahman. Rahman was introduced in their version of the Quran, when the original Quran was destroyed by the followers of Musaylimat. Musaylimat got the name of his deity Rahman from the Torah, meaning the Merciful. When all of the original copies of the Quran were destroyed and Musaylimat and his followers introduced their version of the Quran, he collected portions of the real copies of the Quran and threw away 3 chapters, Surah Kal, Maternal Unda, Surah Haft, Pace, and Surah Nurain, Illumination. They also changed the name of Surah El-Hamd to Surah Al-Fatiha, as well as added the last 3 verses to the 9th chapter to exalt himself. The original Quran was on bones and skins in the ancient script in the dialect of the Quraysh tribe, and was entrusted to Ali, the nephew and true successor of Muhammad and husband of Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad. It was thought to be taken and destroyed by the followers of the false Muhammad, who later became known as the Khulafa, or successors to Muhammad. The original copies of the Quran was taken and completely burned by Uthman, son of Affan. False copies were distributed and circulated throughout the Islamic world. Unbeknowing the original was protected and safe in the hands of the real Muhammad's true descendants in the Sudan. All of this was done immediately after Muhammad's death in the year 632 AD. At 40 years of age, in the year 610 AD, Muhammad taught that the Aluhum Gabriy'el, son of Raziel his father, and Zama'el his mother, came to him and declared him the final prophet of the seed of the teachings of Abraham, whom he called Ibrahim ibn Azar, after which he went for and proclaimed the bounty of Allah. Muhammad sought the truth and retired to a cave at the side of Mount Hira, 3 miles outside of Mecca, for peaceful contemplation. At 25 he married Khadijah, a Christian businesswoman of wealth. Her uncle Waraka was the scribe of the Bible and a devout Christian, told Muhammad that the Aluhum Gabriy'el, whom appeared to him, means that he was a prophet. Through his conversion he drew a shrewd businessman named Abu Bakr Abdullah ibn Uthman, a desert Arab, the father-in-law of Muhammad by marriage to his daughter Aisha. He was the first recognized Khalifa to the Prophet Muhammad, proposed to office by Umar ibn al-Khattab and his supporters. He was a Red Arab from the tribe Taim, one of the leading tribes of Red Arabs, who mixed in with black tribes of Quraysh. His father Uthman, not to be mistaken with the third caliphate also named Uthman, was a wealthy powerful man in Mecca, and Abu Bakr was also a wealthy merchant. He was considered to be very powerful and respected amongst the desert Arabs, and was thought to be deeply devoted to Islam, when in reality he was a part of the master plot. He gave the Prophet Muhammad his very young daughter to lead the impression that the Prophet Muhammad was pedophile. She was Aisha, a very disloyal and evil woman who caused much dissension in Muhammad's household, bringing him much unhappiness and unrest, who also was a part of the scheme to disrespect and dishonor his noble daughter Hadrat Fatima, right up until the death of the real Prophet Muhammad in the year 632 AD. From that point on, he viciously and maliciously persecuted Ali and Fatima, the Alil Bayt, because of his previous jealous grudges towards Ali, and Abu Bakr's daughter Aisha's grudges towards Ali also. He deliberately waited until the real Muhammad had passed, so he could freely torment the Alil Bayt. He used his power and money to influence people to support his claim as the rightful successor. Abu Bakr reigned for 2 years and 9 months, and he died after a long-term illness. He personally chose Umar ibn al-Khattab to succeed him, even though they were both Red Arabs, as was the fake Muhammad, Musaylimat. Umar al-Khattab, Muhammad's father-in-law by marriage to his daughter Hafsa, the second recognized Khalifa, belonged to the great Meccan family of Banu Umayyah, the branch of which descended Abul Asi, who was Umar's grandfather. This was the tribe called Adi ibn Ka also, a clan of the tribe that also mixed in with the black tribes of Quraysh. Umar converted to Islam after reading a surah, Taha, but not after first seeking to kill the real Muhammad. Umar was known as a fierce and aggressive man who greatly transformed the Islamic State, and he played a dominant role in the Sunni line of successors. He was feared more than loved, and when Muhammad was alive, Umar served as second in command of the Muslim army. In 644 AD, Umar was murdered by a Persian Christian slave named Firaz, who stabbed him with a dagger while he was making Salat al-Fajr in the masjid. He died 3 days later after he turned 53 years old. He reigned for 10 years, and an elected council composed of 6 of the oldest companions elected Uthman as the next Khalifa. So, Umar was a Red Arab whose descendancy goes back to Jordan. Uthman ibn Affan ibn Abdul Asi, Muhammad's son-in-law by marriage to his daughters Ruqayya, and after her death, Kulthum. He was a black Arab from the tribe of Umayyah, an affluent clan of the Abid Shams branch of the tribe of Quraysh, descended from Hadad, the 8th son of Ishmael, the son of Abraham. Uthman was an influential, well-accomplished, wealthy merchant from Mecca, who became a close companion of Muhammad. His wealth and position was an asset to the growing Muslim community. Uthman is responsible for arranging the chapters of the Qur'an in the order that it is found today. Yet he did not receive any special instructions in collecting and/or collating the Qur'an. Uthman was killed by members of a revolutionary movement led by al-Ghafiqi from Egypt. They suspected Uthman of plotting their deaths, so they attacked him first. They besieged his home and after a few days forced their way in. Uthman was struck in the head 3 times, stabbed in the side with a sword, and finally beheaded. Uthman reigned for 11 years, and at the time of his murder he was 82 years old. He was the only Khalifa who was a black Arab. Besides Ali, however, his descendancy was not from Qadar, but Uthman's ancestry stemmed from Hadar, the brother of Qadar. These 3 men lied, cheated, and took away the Khalifa position from the rightful heir, Amir el-Mu'minin Ali, on him peace. Then they senselessly persecuted him and his family. These 3 men were the founders of the Orthodox Sunni Muslim sect, and none of them were of the bloodline of Muhammad, and their prophet Muhammad, as taught throughout the Muslim world today, was none other than Musaylimat. When Musaylimat approached Muhammad 628 AD to create an alignment and was rejected, Musaylimat became insulted and set out to have Muhammad killed by poisoning. At the same time, there was a woman, the wife of a Jew named Salam ibn Mishkam, that Muhammad had previously ordered killed, giving her reason to swear vengeance on Muhammad. So Zainab bint Harith sought revenge by going to Musaylimat, who himself was a Jew, and together they arranged the assassination of Muhammad by poisoning. In the year 629 AD, to celebrate the victory over a Jewish-occupied district called Khaybar, Muhammad and his men had a feast. Zainab herself served a specially prepared poisoned lamb to Muhammad and his men. Muhammad swallowed one bite of the poisoned meat before he realized, by its taste, that it was contaminated. Muhammad did not die immediately. However, he did get sick, and he felt the effects of this poison up until his death. But it was 3 years later, in 632 and 2 AD. However, one of his men named Bishr ate a large portion of the meat and died instantly. As for Zainab, she was put to death immediately. With Muhammad out of the way, Musaylimat could now proceed with his proclamation that he was the final prophet and the final apostle of all the world, and that he could intercede on judgment and get anyone in paradise, and that his own holy book, called A1 Quraan A1 Karim, was the final revelation to all humanity on the planet Earth. He added a cornerstone to the Kaaba called Ruknul Yamani, in acknowledgement of his god Rahman, introduced Kaaba worship, placing a set of collected incidents and sayings which became known as the Sunnah and the Hadith of men, above the words of Allah, and added the name Muhammad, one who is worthy of praise as himself equal to Allah. He became more of a threat to Abu Bakr Abdullah, son of Uthman. So Abu Bakr decided to order Musaylimat killed. After several blunders in different battles, Abu Bakr sent Khalid bin Walid as the new commander of the Muslim army. The Muslims and the warriors of Musaylimat met at Aqraba. Eventually, Musaylimat was cut down by Wahshi, an Abyssinian slave of Jubair b Mutim. He was the same slave who had killed Hamza, the beloved uncle of Muhammad, at the Battle of Uhad. Wahshi was a hired assassin, hired by a bitter enemy of Islam, Hind, wife of Abu Silvan, a staunch enemy of Muhammad. Hind, like Zainab, had several relatives slaughtered at the hands of the real Muslims, so in vengeance she offered Wahshi his freedom for the murder of Hamza. And so Wahshi, who had since Hamza's death convened to Islam, was trying to make amends for his wrongdoings, accepted the assassin's role, once again in the murder of Musaylimat, using the very same spear. As a result of the Battle of Aqraba, many of the men who committed the original Qur'an to memory, like Ali, called guardians of the original Qur'an, were brutally slain. This happened prior to the battle. Musaylimat ordered his men to seek out and slay all those who were Qur'a, persons noted for committing the entire Qur'an to memory and teaching it to others. These futile attempts appeared to be successful for the worldwide spread of the worship of Muhammad and the Kaaba and many other pagan practices introduced into A1 Islam. But it will be restored in the name of Allah to its pristine purity. Allahu Akbar wa lillah alhamd. Alright family, that's all we have for you today. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Peace.